Hello and welcome back to the Growth Circle podcast. I am your host, Lincoln Amstutz, and today I'm going to be answering the question, can you wholesale real estate without a license? And we're going to go into it and figure out, are you able to? If so, what are the advantages of wholesaling without a license? What are the disadvantages? And why would somebody choose to do it a certain way? And just jumping right in, the answer is yes. You can wholesale real estate without needing a realtor's license because wholesaling real estate is really just an agreement between two individuals. Usually there's three people total involved: the seller, yourself as the wholesale middleman, and then the end buyer. And it's just an agreement between people, and it happens to be about real estate. Is the way I go about it, and what you are asking about here. And so you can wholesale anything to anyone. The process of wholesale is just getting something from a manufacturer, from the source, right? In this case, a homeowner, and then marking up that wholesale price to an end buyer, somebody that's willing to pay more for it. But because you sourced it, you're the one that gets to mark it up and make your fee. And you can do this from anything as small as sports playing cards, right? You could wholesale a pack of cards to somebody and mark it up and make your fee. You can do it with houses, you can do it with cars, you can do it with businesses. It doesn't matter what the item is, it can be wholesaled, and it's perfectly legal without a license. Because people might think, well, you're transacting real estate, shouldn't there doesn't there need to be a realtor involved? Doesn't there need to be somebody with a license to write the contracts? And the answer is there can be, but it doesn't have to be. Where a license is necessary is anytime a property is transacted on the MLS, the multiple listing system. That is where a license is needed to get things on the market, to make offers to people that have properties listed on the market. You have to go through a realtor. Um, that is when a license is required, is to be putting properties on the MLS. And that is going to get you in front of the most people, the most eyes. That gets you everywhere, but it's not needed in order to do a transaction. I can write a transaction, a contract with my neighbor, with a friend, with a family member. Doesn't matter. It doesn't have to go through the MLS. We can do it ourselves. And that is what wholesaling takes advantage of, is doing things off market. Now, when it comes to contracts, like I said, that's a lot of the big difference in going on the listing side versus just the wholesale side. Really, a legally binding contract could be as simple as getting a napkin, writing seller, buyer, purchase price, close date, and that's it. Right? It doesn't have to be something very official and formal, right? That is technically enough to of a contract to sell a property, right? Depending on your title company or depending on how you're going to operate that transaction. It doesn't have to be anything particular to transact real estate. It's just a matter of if you're going to do it off market or on market. On market, you need to use their contracts, the MLS contracts. Off market, you can use whatever you'd like to on your own. And you don't even have to have a title company to transact real estate. You could just go between you and the seller, you sign a contract with them, and then you go to the county courthouse and you record your name as the new deed holder. They transfer deed. You could just pay them cash, pay them check, whatever it is, and now you're the new deed holder. You don't even have to go through the title company to get a clean and clear title. You could just immediately transfer it. Those are all just protective agencies that help you understand if there's any liens, judgments, loans on that property. That way you don't transfer ownership until those are cleared up. But you don't even have to go through title company. You don't have to go through these or realtor contracts to close a property. You can do it between individuals. But there are certainly advantages to having a house listed on the market, having a license to be able to transact real estate. There are definitely advantages, but also disadvantages. Some of those being, as far as the advantage side to having a license, is the credibility. You have the credibility of having gone to the training, getting your license, knowing that if somebody's working with you, they know that, okay, this person is going to be operating within the bounds of their obligations to the NAR, the National Association of Realtors. They are going to be operating in a way that is fully legal within that realm. And so there can be that credibility and even name recognition depending on the brokerage that you're a part of. You also get MLS access for looking at comparable properties and new listings that are coming on the market that you just not going to have that access unless you have a license. You get lockbox access, those super boxes, so you can go and look at properties that are listed and have keys on them, but you can only get in that as an agent. And then the ability to make offers yourself. If you have a license, you're able to go directly to realtors, homeowners, make those offers that you wouldn't be able to um, officially make otherwise without that license. So certainly some different tools in the toolbox that you get as an agent with your license and handling real estate. But here's a few disadvantages. The largest being you must disclose the market value of whatever property that you're offering on. So if I'm going up to so and so on their house on 123 Main Street and his name is John, if I am a licensed agent and he's just wanting to sell it to me for cash, I still need to disclose to him what that property is worth, market value, if it was listed. I need to tell him that. And then I could proceed to make my own offer personally as Lincoln, not Lincoln the salesperson as the licensed agent, but just Lincoln individually. I could make that offer and we could just do it between us. That'd be fine. But I always have to disclose what the value of their property is if I'm a licensed agent. And so that's something that you're going to have to work through versus if you are not a licensed agent, you don't have that obligation. You don't have to disclose any such value that the property has. You can make your own offer and that's it. Additionally, you have to follow the NAR guidelines on how to facilitate a transaction, the paperwork to use. You're going to be using their contracts, not your own. And of course, there's going to be monthly dues to having a license. So that's a consideration. But the biggest factor in wholesaling without a license is just that ability to go and do it completely on your own, not having a structured system, not having to be a part of a brokerage that you pay a percentage of your cut to. You are completely on your own and able to facilitate that transaction how you'd like without filling in the seller, the buyer on the market value of the property if you would not like to. So that is the difference. A lot of people say, well, is wholesaling legitimate? Is it even legal to operate and do this? It absolutely is. It's the only difference is there's less guidelines and restrictions than if you are a licensed agent. If you're a licensed agent, there are consequences for not going about it the right way. Therefore, people tend to stay more in line with the rules and doing things appropriately versus wholesaling. In some ways, it can be the Wild West of real estate contracts, buying and selling, if people want it to be that way. Like I said, you can use whatever contracts you want. So you could have contracts very much in your favor as the buyer, to where you have escape clauses, you have inspection periods that allow you to get out easily. You have things in there that are clearly for your advantage, that might even be harmful sometimes to that seller. It's a possibility, right? You can use whatever contract you'd like. The difference is, if you want to be in business for a long time, you want to have a credible name, you want to continue to have repeat clients and buyers and sellers, you have to go about it the right way and treat others the way you'd want to be treated. You disclose the information that needs to get disclosed on condition and such. You're not hiding things. So there's a right way to go about it. So it's not to say that in and of itself wholesaling is bad because it's not as regulated. It's just that the people are going to have to regulate themselves more and have the opportunity to provide, I believe, even more value when there isn't a rigid structure that they have to go through. So it's going to be person to person on how those transactions go. But can you wholesale wholesale real estate without a license? Yes, absolutely. There are advantages to it, disadvantages as well, that you, as an agent, are going to have some things that those who are not an agent are going to miss out on. Like I said, that MLS access, lockbox access, ability to make offers, credibility behind it. But then you are a little bit more restricted on how you can go about making those offers, the information you disclose, and such. So hopefully that helped bring some insight into your question there on wholesaling without a license. Definitely some different options there depending on what you're looking to do. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Growth Circle podcast. I will catch you next time. And please leave this show a 5-star rating review, and see you on the next one. Thanks.